my wife says 9 o'clock. Let us begin our pre-meeting. If I can have everyone take their places. Okay, we have the call to order, the invocation. We have, after the invocation, and this should say invocation and prayer, all right? Then after that, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm gonna ask Commissioner Adams that he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then we have the awarding of the certificate. Then we'll have roll call. We have proclamations. The first one will be the celebration of St. Patrick's Day. Second will be Dr. Ruskin with our COVID update. Then we will have the proclamation from the Social Emotional Learning Day in Chatham County from the school board. And then we will have the recognition of the Benedictine Cadets football team, right? Then we have no chairman item, no commissioner items. We go to no table items. Items for individual actions. Does any commissioner have a question about the items for individual actions? And,
yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, Commissioner Commissioner Whiteley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, so with this, the IGA to basically allow the citizens along, at Buckhalter Road that are highlighted, I understand that, allowing them to get access to the actual water system. Now, quick question, who came up with the numbers as far as the percentages? Because one thing I noticed was that they're gonna pay to have this tapped in, and then they're gonna pay for water service, and then we're going to give the city of Savannah 20% for residential properties or 30% for non-residential properties of the tax revenue. And then the additional question I have in association with that is in the contract, it does not expressly state that the percentage of tax revenue is coming out of the SSD. I think we'd be better served, first of all, not giving the city any money, considering that the citizen is paying to tap in and the citizen is paying for the service. But if we must, I think it might be important to express that percentage is of the SSD.
All right, so now the question you're asking is with because you mix questions with statements. So what is the question?
First of all,
I wanted to ask the question. Who did it?
Who came up with the idea of 20 and 30%?
All right,
yes,
let's answer that.
Okay, that was city manager, myself, and staff on both sides came up with the formula. And if I may, on the second question, as I understand it.
Answer the first one.
Okay, staff and two managers.
All right, anything else from there?
Yeah, so I think, personally, I think we're selling the county out there, because I don't see why we have to give them a portion of our tax revenue, considering that the citizen is paying for the expenses associated in tapping in, as well as paying for the service.
Okay, let them explain.
So
okay.
why are we giving them a percentage?
Well, we are not in SSD. This is if any person along Buckhalter, be it private or residential, industrial, commercial, asked to be annexed, we share of what the city will collect, taxes. And that is, and then obviously they get to tap in, they get to use it, the water, they pay their regular rates. So we are not sharing revenue today. It's only if, let's say Lee Smith lives on that road and I ask to be annexed, I'm a commercial developer, asked to be annexed, the city says yes, for water and sewer, they have to share with us what they will collect in taxes. SSD, there will be no sharing of SSD taxes.
Well, Mr. Manager, that's not what this contract says, at least the draft, that is. The draft and the staff report says that we want to allow the citizens on Buckhalter Road the access to that water, without being annexed. In facts and findings on the staff report, attached is an intergovernmental agreement that allows residents in the general vicinity of Buckhalter Road to be granted by the city right to access and tie into water and sewer services without necessity of being annexed into the city.
All right, let me
And then additionally,
wait a minute, stop right there. Let me do this now because I don't want to go where we're not supposed to go, okay? That's a legal question he's asking. Is that something that needs to go to executive session because it's legal?
No, it can be handled.
Okay, we can handle it publicly?
No.
Oh, no, I'm making sure. All right?
oh, yes, sir, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Now the attorney gonna answer you.
Yeah, it can be handled out here. I'm sorry, I just walked in. Short version of the question.
Yes, sir. So basically, I'm asking the reasoning behind the county giving 20 or 30%. I understand 20 for residential, 30 for commercial. So we'll just say for future reference percentage, why are we giving a percentage of our tax revenue to the city of Savannah for that we collect for those who tap into that water system along Buckhalter Road?
It's only for the annex share. It serves two purposes. It straightens out an issue that CETA has. It straightens out the fact that the people on Buckhalter Road can connect to the sewer without having to be annexed into the city. And it's only if they in fact annex that portion of the area is there going to be any type of revenue sharing there. And that was primarily to bring a resolution to the ability to extend the water and sewer for those businesses that are eventually going to be out there off of Veterans Parkway.
Rockingham Farms. And that's allowing them to put the water sewer lines in the county right of way, but this is basically payment back. If they annex, they cannot force annexation. They can voluntarily, if I'm a citizen and want to be annexed, I mean, anybody can do that in the county with any municipality or commercial. So as we see, and we can tighten it up, I mean, the work's begun. We're having to move on it because of the Rockingham Farms development. Because they're about to get behind according to CETA. But the way it's written, we can tighten that up some, but as we've negotiated and the letter that I've sent, the sharing only occurs when the city annexes upon a request by someone along that road, which can happen today. They share their revenues with us. We get SSD taxes today. We will not share SSD with the city.
So respectfully, in regards to CETA, them having to go forward, that does not have anything to do with us making this agreement. Whether they have to go forward or not, that should have been tightened it up in due diligence period. Additionally, if you look at this contract, gentlemen, it doesn't say anything about the city of Savannah remitting anything to the county. It does say on section 9, the county and city agree to share revenue generated, blah, 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 blah. Such property taxes will be collected annually by the tax commissioner and remitted to the county. The county will remit 20% of such taxes collected to the city within 6 months of collection. The city will not involuntarily annex any property of the parcels within the blue highlighted area. So the agreement is saying something that y'all aren't. And so
we don't necessarily
whether or not they needed
agree. We don't agree, but we'll be glad, Mr. Chairman, to look at that, tighten it up, and bring it back to you.
All right, so now let me ask this question, because we can make this a short dance.
Sure.
Let me, Commissioner Whiteley, do you mind if Commissioner Farrell entertains something that was said in their answer to you?
Yes, sir. I yield the floor,
Okay,
Mr.
all right, let's
Chairman.
give it to Commissioner Farrell.
Thank you. Can I get a clarification? Is the city of Savannah's water and sewer an enterprise zone, or is it taxpayer funded?
They say that it's an enterprise.
And can you explain for the general public what an enterprise zone is?
An enterprise really, account, is self-supporting. In other words, the operations of whatever that department is supported by the revenue it raises itself. So by, in this case, water rates, sewer rates, tap-on fees, those type things, support water and sewer, the definition of an enterprise fund.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir.
And that makes my point, along with Commissioner Whiteley. I don't see why there is a taxation component to this agreement. If it's an enterprise zone, the ratepayer and the customer is paying their freight. And this taxation swapping is confusing at best and very foreign concept in how to fund in government in my mind. So
Yep.
I have a lot of
Well, in this, if we did not do the 20 and 30, we would have zero money upon annexation. And in this case, I was trying to get some funds from the city upon annexation, voluntary annexation. Otherwise, we will get nothing. And I was trying to get money from the city that helped compensate part of the right-of-way usage and get some dollars back to the county, because we always lose in annexation. In this case, it's the first time we always lose in annexation. We lose money when that people annex.
I have quite a few concerns that probably are not best to be addressed right here, right now. And I would suggest that we table this item until another meeting and have either a workshop or some meetings with myself and other
Well, that has to go.
interested
Let me interrupt,
commissioners.
because we on Commissioner Whiteley's time, so
Yep.
that would have to go to Commissioner Whiteley. If he's in agreement with that, we can do that, and especially since he says about tightening up the language. And let me tell you where I stand, okay? The emergency is not my hurry, okay? So when you send all of them, you gotta do this by this date, the process being fairly, but I wanna say this too, and y'all can straighten me out if I'm wrong. Just like with the SPLOST funds, the state collected and then they send it to the county, right? And the county sends it to the cities, to all the municipalities. This fund would be the same way. The county would collect it and then send the city what's due to them, and we
tax-
keep what's due to us, right?
The tax commissioner collects.
Right.
Remits, and we then send the 20 or 30%
To
to
the
the
city.
city. So
Okay.
it's very,
But.
a good
all right,
analogy. is
Having
fine.
answered that, Commissioner Whiteley and you and Commissioner Farrell and them get together, you always have the option of taking this off. You want it off?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I think it'd be best, again, so we could discuss it.
Motion
A
so.
little further.
Motion so, will be on your
So
nickel.
I'd like to, I just would like to pull that from the agenda,
All right.
or
Give me-
table it, Mr. Chairman.
Give me a second.
Second.
All right, it's been properly motioned and second that item 2 be pulled from the agenda of individual actions.
We're not in our meeting yet.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we don't
that's
have to
right.
do that,
That's right.
yeah.
All we gotta do is pull it.
Just requesting.
Oh, okay, all we can do is pull it. All right, since it's a request to pull, we drop that. I'm sorry. I'm thinking we mean, yeah.
And-
Yeah, we
And
will,
Mr. Chairman?
we will move that until next meeting, right?
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
And
getting
Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman,
Whiteley now, because he's got the floor. Okay, go ahead.
Just for the record, I'm available, for the rest of the day, to talk. Also, I'm not in town, but I am available, so, as it relates to availing, in understanding that there is a time crunch, I do want to be respectful, but I agree, somebody else's emergency doesn't have to be ours, as we're dealing with our citizens who,
Okay.
we are, those unincorporated, their sole representative.
Well, what we have to do, and I'm almost sure we can't do it today, because I know that I need to be out here at a certain time myself, all right? So, they have to get back because we go into workshop form, right?
We have a workshop on the 23rd I'm bringing to you today.
All right, and this will be on that.
We can add that to the workshop.
Add that to the workship. So,
Yes.
so put on your calendar the 23rd.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else got anything else on the, are you finished with that, or do we need to go something else? With that
Chairman.
one? All right, Commissioner Kicklighter.
Thank you. I want to just commend actually staff for what they're attempting to do here, and also commend Commissioner Whiteley on catching what possibly could have been maybe a lack of wording or something with the legal write-up of that. I know from being there so long now that every time the county invests or has something major happen, someone comes along and annexes the property and takes all the revenues away. So I appreciate the intent behind this, and I appreciate Commissioner Whiteley also looking at it to make sure that we do it, the right way to start with. So thank you, staff, and thank you, Commissioner.
All right. Anybody else now? Anything else on the individual item?
So we're gonna have a meeting on all this.
You're gonna have a workshop? Yes, ma'am. 23rd. At 10 o'clock, yeah, 23rd and 20 o'clock. It's some other items that's gonna come up on there, but this will be one of the items that come in, okay? All right, anybody else on the action, on the individual action? All right, we're moving on to the action calendar. Anyone had any concerns, anything they wanted to pull off, or anything they need further explanation
Just had a
for?
couple.
All right,
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
yes, sir.
Quick questions. One is just for item number 4 on the action calendar.
Okay.
Did we ever receive any similar funding for our police department? I see we're doing this for the school board and Chatham Emergency Services. That's kind of serving as a pass-through. Were we able to get this similar funding or this access to this funding for our police department?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like Linda Kramer, Assistant County Manager, to go over that.
Go ahead.
Yes, we received that, and it was on, I think, the last meeting for approval.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
So
All right,
they're
thank you,
happy-
Linda.
They're happy to receive that money.
Yeah, we took care of those first responders and others. We did that, all right? Commissioner Stone, item,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple. Number 7, with the MOU for the Silver Cheetahs for opportunities for our youth recreational groups. Is this just for them, or do we do this across the board for youth groups?
This- This is a contract we've had Silver Cheetahs for a number of years, so it incorporates all youth in the county.
Okay, I
and-
just want to
yeah.
make sure that it's,
Ongoing contract.
right, but we do this for other youth groups
Yes.
as well?
Yes, if requested.
Okay, and then number 11, just for my own curiosity, what is a skid steer?
Hold on, number 11, which one?
That's a track vehicle,
Number H11?
Oh,
It's a what?
a track vehicle.
It's
It's a
small,
skid-
heavy equipment.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
my-
skid steer loader. It's like the track that the bulldozers and excavators have on it. So
it
it's
has
it's
the
a
track instead of wheels,
okay.
and it loads.
I was just, didn't know what we were
We'll
spending.
bring it to your house and dig a ditch.
Just was curious what we were spending money on.
You've seen it before. You've seen it.
you,
Yeah.
you don't want them to bring it to your house, because then you're gonna have to fix your lawn when they leave.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right, anything from anyone else now concerning the action calendar? So we can take that in its entirety? All right, we move on from the action calendar. Then the next is our first readers. Okay, and we just read them into the record. There'll be no discussion. All right, just reading them into the records. And then we go to our second reader. Okay? Is there any questions now about second readers? All right, Commissioner Farrell first. Go.
Yeah, somehow we got from a fire fee to a fire tax and a millage, and I had recent conversations with the tax commissioner, and I think there's a way to have the fire fee as this commission had instructed 3 months ago for staff to look into using some square footage. So at this point, I'm not ready to support that second, that item on the second reading today. I'd like to further explore the fire fee option that we originally had requested from staff, and still have not seen what it would look like exactly for the, the total square footage of all the buildings in the unincorporated area with the budget on top of it to come up with a price per square foot to provide the covered firefighting money, so.
All right, what you're asking for cannot be done until we send it over to the Board of Assessors. The Board of Assessors sent us a letter yesterday saying that if it's gonna be on this year's tax, it has to be done by April the 8th, all right? Let us remember now, we had the debate and we had the first reading and the second reading of fire fee, fire tax. We had a special meeting in December. Am I correct, Ms. Clerk? A special call meeting where we decided that we would go with the fire tax because the tax commissioner wrote us a letter, plus she said it in a meeting with the staff and myself in my office. She has no authority to execute a fee. And she gave it to us in writing, so therefore in December, we went to fire tax. She can put the fire tax on the bill. The fire fee would be a total different thing. Now, I've asked you all, and I've tried to keep you all on the straight and narrow. I ask you all, don't go to these private meetings with these people when they call y'all because they got something up their sleeve that they're trying to do. Now, you have already voted it in as a as a tax, all right? To change it now means that we have to drop the whole thing. We have to rescind what we did in December. And remember now, we were doing it in December because it needed to go in effect January 1. All right? I just want to remind everybody where we were. We put it in December so that in January 1, folks in the unincorporated area would not get a fire subscription. That's what we did. All right? And you voted it in as a tax. Now, if you want to rescind that as a tax, then what you're gonna have to do is come back at another meeting and undo what you did in December in the special call meeting. And that's gonna take a process where it'd have to be resubmitted, first read, second read, with public input, and go forward, all right? So I'm just telling y'all what you're doing, and I'm asking y'all again, I'm asking you publicly now because I asked you privately and you ignore me, okay? Stop meeting with these folks who have alternate agendas. There's a reason they asked you to come and talk to them. And I'm telling you, we decided in December that it would be a tax because there is no leverage for us to collect a fee. Under a tax, if they don't play, and straighten me out, Mr. Lawyer, if I'm wrong, because this is what I knew y'all told me. Under the tax situation, we can go to court and get the money, right? Yes, that's correct. Under fee, we can't go to court. Am I correct? All right, now, so understand what y'all said and understand what y'all doing, and understand this. The Board of Assessors, from their attorney, sent us a letter that says, if it's not done by April the 8th, and all the things cleared up and passed through this board, then they will not be able to assess anybody's property for a tax fee, for fire tax, all right? Cancel fee, they're only dealing with tax. The letter states, and I quote, unless we meet the April 8th deadline, nobody will get charged for a fire tax this year. It cannot go on the tax record this year. Even as it stands right now, it's not going on the first assessment. It's gonna be on the November assessment as it stands now, okay? Now, having said that, to get it straight, let me go to whoever wanna speak. I'm going to Commissioner Stone first, because I saw her hand first, and then I'll come to Commissioner Milton. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In all due respect, whether it's a fee or whether it's a tax, I can't support this today because you're not going to tell us what these fees or taxes are going to be. I have had numerous requests to look at the fire fee to be based on, or the fire tax, the square footage of the home that they're putting the fire out. That's all I asked. And as of Monday, when I met in the green room and asked what this fee is going to be, nobody knows. I cannot, with a clear conscience, vote for something that I don't know what it's going to be. So I'm just saying that I'm receiving phone calls and letters from constituents that are very upset as to how this fee or tax will be calculated.
And the only people who can do that is the Board of Assessors. And you have not passed things that can go to the Board of Assessors. Unless you go through the process that's going, it cannot go to the Board of Assessors. You can't
But
send them
how
over
can-
there and say,
but how
send
can
me an
you-
estimate of what this will cost.
But
And they
how
don't
can-
have all the facts of what
But I
they're
can't
dealing
vote on
with.
something that I don't know what it's gonna cost.
And I'm just telling you what you,
I know,
what you
I'm-
voted
I'm-
in.
I'm just
See,
telling you, that gives me heartburn.
All right, and I'm gonna say this to all of us too. I've learned ever since I was a little child. When you're digging a hole and you find yourself in the hole, stop digging. We digging a hole. We digging a hole. This board cannot calculate what it will cost each individual who is in the unincorporated area, what the fire tax will cost them. That is the job of the Board of Assessors. We cannot send it to the Board of Assessors without these things being passed. So I don't know how y'all want the cart to pull the horse. The horse supposed to pull the cart. All right, let me move on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have.
Okay, I'm coming.
My concern is that we have never gotten a concrete, whether it's gonna be square footage, whether it's gonna be value, we've never gotten any of that. And every time we talk about it, it's always gonna be, we haven't gotten there yet, we haven't gotten there yet. So I'm still not ready to, I still don't have, we're supposed to be on the same page as far as talking to our constituents about what the fee is gonna be, and we're not there. And I'm in agreement with Marcus. I just can't, I'm still not understanding what the rate is.
The rate cannot be set by this commission. The
But
rate
the,
is
but the
set.
formula can
The
be.
formula has to go to the assessors.
But is it gonna be square footage, or is it gonna
Nope,
be
nope.
value?
Listen,
What
we
is
don't
it?
know
What is
Square
it?
footage.
we can't say.
So what,
Assessors are telling us we can't do square footage.
You have to go to the assessors.
They're saying we cannot. They cannot do it.
that's not, so are we
All I
allowing
can do is
them to?
repeat what we've been told.
Then we need to do it ourselves. If they
We
can't-
You can't do
Cannot.
it yourself. That's
The Board
against
of
the law.
Assessors has to do it.
Well, I think that we dug the hole, and now we
Also,
got.
this ordinance is already in place.
Well, we can rescind the ordinance.
Well,
if
the
there's
ordinance
enough.
should stay. It's our advice to let it stay, and you can choose to enact. That's
what
all
we-
it is.
That's what we're asking for, is
Yeah.
options. We haven't
And
got
that's
the fire
option,
fee,
that's an option.
square footage option, and
All right.
concrete yet.
Let me go,
And
let
that's
me
what
go
we're-
to.
That's
let me
what
go
I'm
to-
asking for, and
All
I
right.
believe my other
All right,
commissioners are
okay.
asking for that.
Come on now. Let us go to Commissioner Kicklighter. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to make it clear, when you say we passed something, I voted against it. Because it didn't make much sense to me then for us to approve something without having a clue as to how how much the property owners are gonna pay. And it makes less sense today because it's going from bad to worse. We now hear from the tax commissioner that it may not even be done in a timely manner where she could actually even get the digest prepared in time, and that would throw things off there. And we also find out now, because I believe she only had like 2 days notice before she stated that she could not collect a fee. After reevaluating a little time over past 2 days, she says she can collect a fee. And Chairman, you said previously stated that collecting a fee could not go to court. That's not what we were told when we initially started this. When we initially started this, we said that if they did not pay the fee, this would give the bite to the Southside Fire Department, or Chatham Fire, whatever you want to call them now. It would give them the bite because we could actually, if it was a county ordinance, take them to court, and we could actually levy a fine per day that the citizen did not pay their fee. So, that's two different stories there. It's very irresponsible, in my opinion, to just jump forward without really having a clue as to how this is going to pan out. And it's just very irresponsible to move through right now with any type of tax or fee if we have no clue as to how that fee or tax is going to be applied. We can't have some individuals paying $10,000 for fire protection and some others maybe paying $50. There has to be some type of fair formula, and I believe we all stated early on it should be based off of square feet, because it's going to take the same amount of firefighting capacity to put out 1,000 square feet in Sandfly as it does on Dutch Island. But you're going to have two totally different property values there, and you'll have two totally different type of payments when you're talking property taxes. If you're talking a fee, you're talking something fair based on what, basically, like the tax that Commissioner Farrell spoke of earlier, where you actually have a tax that services funds, the tax funds that service, as in the water, for water. With a fair structured fee for fire, it should actually fund the fire service. But with a property millage rate tax, it's not fair. And I just don't think that we should jump in. I would rather use monies to protect the area that we have in savings right now, to protect the area until the thing's done right, rather than create a massive disaster and then have to go back through and straighten everything out. So we have the money in there if we need to float the fire department to pay for the area until we do it right. I suggest to all of my fellow commissioners that we do exactly that. There's no reason to rush into something when we literally have no clue what we're rushing into. Thank you.
Okay, now let me do this. In the interest of time and being very respectful to our guest who's here, all right? When we come back to this, all right, anybody can make a motion or a second to table it, all right? And we come back to it later on, okay? But we're beyond our allotted time, and I like to be respectful of everybody's time, okay? So we all on the same page?
Yep, let's start the
All
meeting.
right.
All rise. Oyez, oyez, oyez. Silence is commanded by this honorable commission. All those having business draw near.
All right, you may be seated at this time. I've asked you to be seated at this time so that I'm gonna do a few housekeeping things. And then the first housekeeping that I'm gonna do is ask everybody in here, please turn off your cell phones, all right? Check your cell phones now. Don't think you have it off and then it goes off because the sheriff gonna send the deputy over there. Or he might come himself and go home with a loaded pocket. All right, so I'm gonna ask you now to mute your cell phones or turn them off, including the commissioners. And let me, as we get to our invocation and our prayer, okay, let me first apologize to Minister Oliver. I had your bio, all right, and I don't know, picking up and putting down stuff, I don't know what I did with it. I know it's not up here with me, okay? But I know that you are from New Salem Community Fellowship Church, and I know that's under the tutelage and the pastorage of Bishop Smalls, my good friend. And so Minister Oliver is coming to us with our inspiration, our invocation, and then our prayer, and I'm gonna ask us that when he gets ready for prayer, that we all will stand and do the prayer. Minister Oliver, we in your hands. Yes, sir, come on up to the mic.
First, I want to say good morning to everyone. Good morning to Chairman, to each and every one of you commissioners, and to each and every person under the sound of my voice. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Not clearly.
Okay.
Raise your mic.
Turn those mics up, tell the folks in the back.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Again, good morning to everyone, to the commissioners, chairman, to each and every person under the sound of my voice. Today, I'm honored to be with you in this meeting. And before I go any further, again, I want to just make mention of my leaders. Thank God for my leaders, Bishop Nathaniel Small Sr. and Pastors Clara and Raymond Rouse, for allowing me to be here as well. My scripture I'll be reading today is from Joshua 1:9. It's a familiar passage. Have I not told you, be strong and have strength of the heart, for the Lord your God is with you anywhere you go. In Joshua 1:9, God demands Joshua to be strong, and he demands him to have strength of the heart. In other words, he encourages Joshua to be courageous in every situation and in whatever the circumstances may be, to just have strength and to be strong. And today, I'm not going to be before you long, but I want to encourage the commissioners and to each and every person under the sound of my voice to be strong in whatever you may be experiencing. We know that we are still facing the pandemic, and whatever you may be experiencing alone, just want to encourage you with those few words to have strength. Whatever you may be battling today, tomorrow, in the coming weeks, have strength and know that things are going to get better from here. Many things in the world can terrify us, the state of the economy, terrorists, crime rates, and other things that are happening every day in our city, every day in our state. But as citizens and as residents of this county and as of this city, we have to, again, continue to stand strong and know that things are going to change. And I believe that we have an amazing board that will give us that strength to display to us as residents of Chatham County, just to move forward in change and move forward in the new things that you guys have planned. We have to believe that every moment that the power of God is still resting on us. So whether you may be down today, later you will feel much better if only you believe. So I pray that before we go in prayer, I pray that this meeting is peaceful. I pray that each and every one of you can get your agendas across, your points across, and I pray that this is a successful meeting. So if you can, please stand. And let us pray. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, God, we come before you just thanking you for another opportunity to give you the honor and give you the reference today. God, we come humbly as we know how. We thank you for the opportunity just to be able to look to you and tell you thank you. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength. We thank you for life this morning. Now, Father, we pray a special prayer for each and every commissioner. God, we thank you for each and every person under the sound of our voice. We pray that you would bring your peace that passes all understanding into this meeting today. Be with us as we go forth, and we ask that you would strengthen us for the journey, God, that you have stir up before us, And we ask that you would just continue to stand by us and walk with us in everyday lives, Father. We ask that you would strengthen us for this journey. Be with us. In the name of Jesus we pray. Let every heart say amen,
Amen.
amen,
Amen.
and amen.
Amen. Turn your mic on.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. To Minister Oliver, let me say how grateful we are that you accepted the invitation to be with here today, all right? And I want to say this to Commissioner Whiteley. We're using millennials today. He likes to pull out the millennial card on us, okay?
I love it.
So, yeah, Minister Oliver is upon those millennials, and he is a student at Savannah State University, all right? And we applaud you for what you're doing and how you're doing it, especially that you're doing it. And we pray God's strength on you, and we enjoy it, and we will take to heart the words that you have given us today as our words of inspiration. God bless you and thank you. We cannot pay you, but we hope the certificate of appreciation, because we definitely appreciate to hear from our millennials. All right? God bless you and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you so much. Roll call.
Chester A. Ellis, Chairman.
Present.
Kenneth A. Adams, District 8, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Helen L. Stone, District 1, Chairman Pro Tem.
Present.
Larry Gator Rivers, District 2.
Present.
Bobby Lockett, District 3.
Present.
Patrick A. Farrell, District 4.
Here.
Tanya Milton, District 5.
Present.
Aaron Whiteley, District 6.
Here.
Dean Kicklighter, District 7.
Here.
All right, thank you, ma'am. We go to proclamations and special presentations, and we have both proclamations and we have special presentation as we proclaim and announce the St. Patrick's Day celebration and introduction of the parade's Grand Marshal, a good friend of ours. I'm going to ask him to come forward. I'm still going to call you Commissioner Power, as well as the parade chairman and whoever else needs to be in that entourage, if you all will come to the dais. Let me get Danny to stand there first, and then yeah. Let me read the proclamation, all right, and then I'll turn it on to how you do it, so that we get it all straightened together. Okay. The County of Chatham, Georgia, proclamation. Whereas one of the highest honors to be bestowed upon the Irish Catholic in Chatham County is to be elected Grand Marshal of the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Today we take great pride in saluting the 2022 Grand Marshal, Daniel Danny Thomas Powell. And whereas Chatham County is privileged to have among its citizenship many fine sons and daughters of Irish descent that have made many noble contributions to Chatham County. Their ancestry have given to Chatham County their labor, their love, and their dedication. And whereas Danny Powell has been an active member of the parade committee for 46 years, his service began in 1986 when he was appointed to the Parade Executive Committee and held the office of Treasurer, Secretary, and Vice Chairman. In 1992, at the age of 35, he served as the General Chairman of the parade. Now, therefore, I, Chester Ellis, Chairman on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim Friday, March, and that should be Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah, it should.
It should be Thursday, so we're gonna have to straighten that out.
Yeah.
Thursday, March 11th, 2022, as Grand Marshal Daniel Danny Thomas Powell Day in Chatham County, and salute him for having this prestigious title bestowed upon him and feel assured that Irish eyes will be smiling as he leads the 198th St. Patrick's Day Parade. In witness whereof, I hereto set my hand and cause the seal of Chatham County, Georgia to be affixed this 11th day of March 2022. Again, congratulations, all right? And I tell you, like I said the other night when I was there, I was so proud and I was happy for you, but then I fell in prayer because I saw Steve next to you. I said, oh, Lord, help him now.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So let me turn it over to you, and then the chairman can come after
Yeah,
you.
before the chair, since I'm up here, I just briefly, I just want to say that I'm really proud to have received this esteemed honor to lead St. Patrick's Day on the 17th, coming out of the pandemic and not having a parade for 2 years. I guess our committee, and I think the citizens, we've been on the lunch circuit here the last couple of weeks, and everyone is so looking forward to getting a parade back on the street, and we're certainly no exception to that. We're really charged up, and I really appreciate the proclamation that you've given me here this morning. It means a lot. Having been employed over here for 26 years, and good to see all of you folks again. A lot of hugs and kisses in the hallway, so so it's all good. But I do want to introduce my chaplain and my aides. First is the chaplain, Bishop Emeritus J. Kevin Boland.
All right.
And then we have the aides, and I'll do this alphabetically so I can try to keep them in line here. The first one is your buddy, Mr. Stephen Brennan. Then we got Mr. Tom Edenfield, Mr. Robbie Johnson, and y'all, a lot of y'all know Robbie as well. Robbie spent 20 years working for me as chief deputy, and he's here somewhere. So yeah, there he is. Yeah. So we got, yeah. And then I have my two nephews, these two fine young men, Joseph and Thomas Powers. And last but not least, my good buddy, Mr. Tim Welsh. So anyway, thanks again. We'll let the chairman do all the ins and outs as far as what's going to happen on St. Patrick's Day. He knows who's coming and who's not, and what have you. But this is very nice. So thank you very much.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
See y'all
the
on the
job
17th. But get this fixed first.
Yeah. We'll get it straightened out.
I've had to do plenty of talking, so, and Danny said it well. So 2 years without a parade. I know this county and this community and the city, the community at large is in desperate need to get back together and cherish that community and be back together. And I think St. Patrick's Day for our area is really that day that we all do get to come together and enjoy a parade and see some familiar faces again. And we still need to be safe, but I think we can do it well this year. So we have been working on this hard. I have some of my staff here today too, some of my executive committee and other officers on the parade committee. And I tell you, we are so anxious to get back out there and put this thing forward for our community as we all come together and enjoy that day. So we look forward to it, and we know you'll be proud of what we do for the rest of this community, and we know everybody will enjoy it. So thank you so much for inviting us here today. And we know we got a good leader to lead that parade that day too. So thank you so much, Chairman and
All right.
Commission.
Let me go to Commissioner, starting with Commissioner Farrell.
Thank you, Chairman. Would like to welcome all the parade committee members and the entourage, which of course are also members. And it's so good to see you again. I got up this morning wondering what to wear, and I looked at my closet and look what was hanging up there from 3 years ago. I have the Idi Amin of jackets with all the pins and badges that I've collected over the last number of years. So feels good to have the green jacket on for this occasion. I always wear it on the meeting before the parade, show my support and respect for for the Irish Catholic community who has deep roots in this county and this city. And we thank you for all that you do and how inclusive you are for everyone to come and enjoy the celebration of St. Patrick. And we're looking forward to a great year and a very peaceful and fun celebration. So thanks for all the hard work y'all do, because it is a 365-day process to put this parade on. And as far as I know, nobody gets paid a dime for it. So I appreciate all your volunteer hours, because there are many, many community service hours there. If you were in high school, you'd have it all cleaned up in one year. So thanks very much for being here and for all you do.
Anyone else?
I'd like to ask Danny Boyd for the words to that song that was written. Was it written by your father or by you?
No, it was written by my grandfather.
Your grandfather? I'd like to find the words to that song. It's very nice.
So we have our magazine that we put out every year, but we get it in shifts because it's such a time crunch, and they're all gone right now. So our next batch is coming in today, and we will deliver a box. If you turn to the back of the magazine that we give out to everybody, it'll be in the back.
Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. And anyone else? Any commissioner? Let me straighten out me, okay?
No, this is good.
Yeah, I know. I'm a fast reader. See, and I was thinking about Thursday, and Thursday's date, which is the 17th, but this says today is your day in this school. Yeah, that's what that means. Today is your day in here, okay? So Ms. Gail got it right. The chairman got it wrong.
Well, that's why we said, Mr. Chairman, I brought him up, and it took one retired government worker and one active government worker to figure it out.
Well, they always told me when I was calling basketball, if you make a mistake, blame it on Steve. That's my good friend. Thank you all, and it's just good to see all of you and again and have a blessed day. And we look forward to Thursday. All right? We'll be there. We'll be there.
Thank y'all.
With bells ringing, we'll be there. Thank you all. All right, now let me call on Dr. Ruskin, who's going to give us our update from the health department on our COVID virus. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. That's a hard act to follow. Good to see everybody as usual. I apologize, I didn't get here in time to hand out my presentation, but I gave it to Mr. Smith for you all. So just a couple of updates. You pretty much know the drill when it comes to the data that I'm going to present. I'll just try to present. The last time I was here was 2 weeks ago, and so on the vaccination front, as you can see, we've made some improvements. We've increased a little over 2,500 individuals have been vaccinated since our last meeting, 530 new individuals, and the majority of folks who were vaccinated over the last 2 weeks have received booster vaccinations, which is a good thing. So that's, we know we're looking at the data that if you're vaccinated and you get boosted, it does increase the efficacy of that significantly. When you look at the 7-day rolling average, this is just the average number of cases per day over a 7-day period. You can see our various peaks over the last, over this last 2 years, 2.5 years. We did peak over 700 average cases back during the Omicron surge. And you can see with that surge, it came up really fast and it started coming down really fast. Right now, we are seeing a slight uptick in cases. We were declining very rapidly, but you can see that little loop at the bottom, which is showing a slight uptick. We're slightly higher as of yesterday with average number of cases than we were when I was here 2 weeks ago. So it's just something we'll just continue to monitor. That's not uncommon. When you start declining that rapidly and you start seeing numbers get that low, it doesn't take many cases to start twisting that line. But it is something we do need to monitor over time. Number of cases on the bar graph in front of you. The numbers, again, are very low. Most of the cases, as you can see, are between the ages of essentially birth to 19, so in the younger group. A lot of declines as you move across the age stratification. But at the last meeting, I believe there was around 860 cases during that time period that I presented. And during this time period, which is the last 7 days, we've seen only 208 cases. So again, good indicators that things are continuing to decline, or at least stabilize for now. Let's move this up. For children or students within the school system, the numbers have pretty well stayed the same. They're very low as far as cases. I believe at the last meeting, the total for that week was around 81 students within the student age range that had tested positive, and we were at 80 this past week. And so those numbers have stabilized and continue to be really low in that population. Community Transmission Index is the primary indicator that has been used in the past to determine when mask mandates should be put in place or when it's highly recommended to wear masks. And you could see we were coming down very rapidly. We've started increasing again. There is still transmission in the community. I think that's something that we all have to recognize, and you have to take you have to decide amongst yourself what individual risk level you're willing to be around. The risk of COVID right now is low in our community. When you look at the next map that I'm showing you, at the last meeting, I think we were waiting on the CDC to put out guidance on mask usage, and they've created this new indicator that you could see. Right now, what they're looking at is primarily new cases per 100,000 population, but they've added in looking at hospitalization rates and the percentage of hospital beds occupied as a way to develop this new methodology to recommend mask wearing in a community. Chatham County is in the green, which is the lowest risk. I think, all the work that's been done in this community with people getting vaccinated, with wearing masks in high-risk settings is contributing to that. But it could change. What this new metric looks at, the reason they've kept cases in there is cases is a leading indicator. When we start seeing an increase in cases, the expectation potentially is there's going to be an increase in hospitalizations. And so we will continue to monitor these cases. But right now, the good news is we are in a low-risk category. The definition of low risk, or at least the recommendations from CDC, is that masks are optional. It's really based off an individual's decision whether they want to wear a mask, and test if you have symptoms. The orange or moderate the yellow, which is considered moderate risk, also masks are recommended as optional. But if you're high risk, if you have some kind of disease that makes you immunocompromised, it's recommended that you consider masking. And again, vaccinations is always recommended, as well as testing if you have symptoms. The orange is the highest risk. This pretty much means you have a lot of cases in a community, you have a lot of hospitalizations in a community, and you have a lot of beds in a hospital that's being taken up by COVID patients. And right now, or at least as of March 3rd, which is when this map was published by CDC, 22 of 159 counties were in the high-risk category. So the vast majority of counties in our state were in either the low risk or moderate risk. And again, right now, Chatham is in the low-risk category. The next slide is the hospitalizations. Again, good news on that front. The numbers continue to decline. They've declined since the last meeting. They're at a very low level for all of our hospitals in the community. The one thing that I did want to address, I believe Commissioner Stone, you had asked at the last meeting, was about hospital beds. And in talking to the chief medical officers at both hospital systems, in theory, as COVID cases come down, beds open up, as they had stated to me, and that's happened. Their staffing has tended to stabilize over the last few weeks. The issue is the hospitals are already full. There's a lot of sick folks out there with non-COVID diseases. And in the last few weeks, the hospitals have just been extremely full. And the example that was given to me by one CMO is they discharged, I believe, around 130 patients on one day and admitted 126 on the same day. So it didn't free up many beds. And so while COVID is declining, our hospitals still have a lot of sick people in there. Some of that may be that people are catching up on things. They're catching up on surgeries that haven't been able to get to. But there's still folks out there that have other diseases that are keeping those hospitals full. And both CMOs said they're happy to chat with you if you'd like to give them a call. On the percent or number of testing, we still continue to have our test sites open. We've got our Civic Center site as well as our West Chatham site. The Civic Center site will be closed the entire month of April. There's an event that's being held at the Civic Center that's going to take up that particular facility as well as a lot of the parking lot area for the logistics of that event. So we're going to pivot everything or recommend to people if they need to be tested to go to our West Chatham location. We do anticipate receiving a testing kiosk in the next couple of weeks that we'll have at the health department, that people, if they need to be tested, can receive a test kit 24 hours a day. It'll be available to the public. But we don't have an exact ship date, but we anticipate the end of the month that being available as another option for the public. The percent positivity looks really good right now. The numbers, the percentage continues to be low. Actually, it's lower. The last, this statistic's always a couple of weeks behind, but if you, when I look in the system at the data, right now we're hovering around 3.2% positivity rate. So it's lower than that green bar, which is considered very low for our community. And lastly, just the cumulative numbers since we were here last. We've had 2 additional deaths reported for COVID, and we have a cumulative number of cases since the beginning of around 62,000, or 61,775. And so our takeaways, again, you know, as this particular surge comes down rapidly, our cases, our hospitalizations, and our outbreaks across the state have plummeted by 50 to 60% in the last 2 weeks. And at the last meeting, we were still seeing a lot of deaths in the state, but the deaths are declining as well. That's one of the lagging indicators that you see that happens later after we start seeing cases go up. And the deaths have decreased by 25% across the state. There has been some news around a new variant out there, this BA2 Omicron variant, but fortunately and thankfully, it doesn't seem to be gaining traction in the U.S. It has gained some traction in other countries, but out of all the tests that are done, they sequenced a percentage of those tests at our Department of Public Health Laboratory to determine what variant is circulating, and only 4% of all tests that's been sequenced is this BA2 Omicron variant 2. So it's very low. It's not circulating much in our area, and hopefully it'll stay that way. You know, the footprint of this pandemic, we hope that this pandemic is finally receding, and that we're going to have some good days ahead of us. You know, the unfortunate long-lasting impact to this is for a lot of folks who have become sick with COVID. They're having a lot of long COVID symptoms. These are symptoms that just tend to last for a long time and does affect quality of life. Our mitigation strategies to keep this down continue to be vaccination, boostering, surveillance, testing when needed, and you know, these mitigation measures not only will keep this pandemic and the surges down, but hopefully will help with future pandemics should we have one. I hope we don't. I hope this is the only one I see in my career and that many of us see in the next 100 years. But the only other update that I have for you all is kind of fitting with the St. Patrick's Day committee that was here. Our environmental health team works closely with the city of Savannah and the committee to ensure food safety during this event. There's a lot of food vendors that are out selling food to the public, and we every year work closely to do inspections of those facilities to ensure that they're providing safe food to the public. And it's always a fun event for the staff to get out and walk around. So if you see any of the public health staff, they'll most likely be wearing a public health shirt and a hat that says public health on it. They'll be out and about working with the county and the city, just ensuring that they're monitoring those vendors for food safety risk. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
All right, any questions for Dr. Russell? Commissioner Adams.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Doctor, you mentioned that you're gonna close the Civic Center in April. Are you gonna have another alternate site?
Yes, our West Chatham site, which is it's on the Georgia Tech campus off Jimmy DeLoach Parkway, is open as well, and that site's not closing. And so we'll direct people to that particular location. Also, we're hoping to get a testing kiosk, which is, it's like a red box, for if you're familiar with the movie red boxes, where you go get a movie, you take a movie back. It's a very similar concept. Yeah, you get a test, you test yourself, you put it back in the box, and it's sent to a lab. We've been told potentially at the end of the month that'll be shipped to the health department, and it'll be set up there. And once that happens, we'll put out some media coverage about it to make sure the public's aware of it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else? Thank you, sir. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. At this time, let me call on Commissioner Middleton, who shall take us with the proclamation recognizing March 14, 2022 as Social Emotional Learning Day in Chatham County. Commissioner Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With pleasure, I read this proclamation, and it reads, whereas social emotional learning, which is SEL, is the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. And whereas SEL competencies develop throughout our lives and are essential to success in our schools, workplaces, homes, and communities, and allow individuals to contribute meaningfully to society. And whereas SEL can be taught and developed throughout childhood, adolescence, and beyond, and schools, families, and the wider community must be engaged to enhance the strength, depth, and pace of acquisition of SEL competencies. And whereas supporting SEL is a wise use of public resources because there can be long-term social and economic benefits to society from the implementation of evidence-based SEL. Now, therefore, I, Chester A. Ellis, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize Friday, March 11th, 2022 as Social Emotional Learning Day in Chatham County, and encourage all community members to learn about and share their knowledge of the importance and impact of integrating evidence-based SEL into our schools, organizations, and community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed this day, the 11th day of March, 2022.
And we have members of the school board here. We ask them to come forward. It's on the desk. All right?
Hello.
All right. We're in your hands.
Well, just wanted to express our extreme gratitude that you feel that it's a worthwhile and are presenting and recognizing and supporting this really important work for our students and our staff. Just very, very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. I am fortunate enough to be the behavior support teacher at the Front Porch, which is that collaboration with the court systems in the county. So I am just blessed that I get to work with students in the community and the schools every day. So thank you for that opportunity and recognizing our important contribution.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, let me, the proclamation recognizing the Benedict Cadets football team. Let me call on Commissioner Pat Farrell, and as he called them to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would like to ask head football coach Danny Britt and his representative football players from Benedictine Military School to approach the podium. On behalf of all the commissioners, we welcome you as representatives of Benedictine Military School here today to recognize you on the outstanding achievement that was accomplished in December of 2021. And I will start with this proclamation, and then we will introduce the coach and the representative players that are here today, and hear some pearls of wisdom from Coach Britt. Whereas Benedictine Military School is a Catholic Benedictine college preparatory school which forms and educates young men from diverse backgrounds, supports a deeper commitment to their faith, prepares them for life through a quality academic program, and instills leadership skills through a JROTC program, athletics, extracurricular activities, and community service. And whereas Chatham County is fortunate to have this educational facility that seeks to form men of virtue and integrity through instruction and discipline to prepare them for lifelong learning and service to their faith and civic communities. And whereas on Friday, December 10th, 2021, Benedictine closed out a season to remember as the Cadets defeated Carver Columbus to win the state title and was said to be a thriller, and I can attest to that, I was there, which was decided when the ball was no longer in the hands of Carver Columbus and in the possession of the Cadets offense for a victory formation in the final minute of a 35-28 win, closing out a season to remember. Now, therefore, Chester A. Ellis, Chairman, and on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commission, do hereby congratulate Benedictine Military School's football team for their impressive performance in winning the Georgia High School Association Class 4A state championship as they went 13-2, winning 13 straight games, and applaud the Benedictine Cadets football coaches for their skills and leadership, making it possible for the team to achieve this high honor. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Chatham County, Georgia to be affixed this 11th day of March 2022. Quite an impressive feat. So So Danny, could you enlighten the general public and all the followers of your football team? Give us a little snapshot of your how the season started and how you got to the point where you are, and
Sure.
challenges that you faced going from a lower class to 4A very recently.
Yeah, definitely. It was a season to remember, and so very proud of these young men, so very proud of the seniors, which we have 24 of them. These are just a few who I'll introduce in just a moment, but so proud of what they were able to accomplish. And yes, we started off 0-2. We played a team, a much bigger school from Miami, came in and defeated us, and then we lost to a team out of South Carolina the next week, and quite honestly should not have lost that game. What I am so proud of is what took place at that point, and it was a very low point for us. Had put so much into it, had made the state semifinals the year before, so the expectations were extremely high. And these guys got together as a team. And when I say as a team, actually we were practicing on a Monday morning when there was no school. After that second loss, I was there, 4:30, 5 in the morning, and about 7 o'clock, we had a meeting at 8 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, I walk outside and I see the parking lot full. I walk over to the weight room, and the seniors had brought all 105 of the players together and talked for an hour about what needed to happen for things to change. Now that's leadership, and that I knew at that moment, okay, this could be good, this could be fun. When you have 17 and 18-year-old young men taking that type of initiative. So from that point forward, we, as it says, reeled off 13 straight wins, and then was able to win in the final minute in Atlanta in the state championship against Carver Columbus, and just in a great year. The young men that I have up here today are some of my seniors and captains. Drew Morin, Holden Sapp, who will be attending West Point on a scholarship regarding football. Justin Thomas, who will be attending the University of Georgia on a baseball scholarship. I feel like he's a better football player, but he's really good at everything he does, to be honest with you. J.P. Farrell, who you may know his father. Shane Strickland. And then we have two captains who could not be here today. Holden Garner, who is already attending school at Auburn. He's on a football scholarship, and I feel strongly will be their quarterback very soon. And Matt Cromenhawk, who's on his official visit to the Massachusetts Maritime Academy, where he plans on playing football and attending school on scholarship there as well. So, again, thank you so very much for this recognition. It truly means a lot. And what I can say to you about these young men you see behind me, each one of them will be very successful men, fathers, husbands, businessmen, professionals, maybe elected officials someday, and you can be proud to say, hey, I knew them when. And so I'm very proud of them, and very fortunate I get to get up and go to work at a job I love, and I love it because of the people I get to work with, and these guys are a great example of that.
All right.
Well, Danny, it gives us great pleasure to have representatives here from Benedictine, and the shining example to all our youth of what is possible when you put your mind to it and you work as a team and pull in the same direction for a goal. What good things can happen. So I commend you, and I think all the commissioners feel the same way, that we really like to put a spotlight on all of our youth throughout Chatham County when they accomplish great things and head off in a really good direction. So it does us proud to have you here. I believe you had somebody in the front of the room that was part of your football program with the.
Sheriff Wilcher really helped us out, and he had some officers follow us up there. And as I told him, I'm not sure it was necessary, although in Atlanta traffic it can be, because but boy, was it really cool. And these guys would agree with that 100%, to have the officers. And then, of course, not only that, then they had officers meet us at each county up in Atlanta and take us right up to the hotel, and then the next day over to the stadium, and very much like a college. You see the college programs and all. So it gives these guys an idea of what's coming to them in the future. But thank you, Sheriff, for that, and for supporting us more than just that, supporting us continuously. We really do appreciate that.
Let me call on Commissioner Kicklighter. I know he can't let this go by.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
First, tell us
Yeah, Danny, I was
what was your...
say, as captain of the 1987 Benedictine Cadet football team, y'all make me extremely proud. All you guys, y'all did an awesome job this year, as you've been doing in the last several years. And Danny, thank you. Hope you stay with us at BC forever. We really, truly love having you there and appreciate everything you're doing for the program and for all these boys. And good luck to all you young men right there. I'm very proud of you, as well as the rest of Chatham County. We're all extremely proud of the job that you did this year. Thank you.
Any other commissioner?
Oh, Dean, you gotta tell us about your, running average, remember?
6.6 yards a carry.
Oh, well, you didn't have to look that up, you knew that off the top of your head?
Hey, I know that, man. That was a hard average that Danny and his team has managed to blow that average out the water, but.
Yeah,
for a while, that was-
I believe Justin averaged 6.7 yards a carry.
It was 12 or 20 a carry.
No, thank you very much, Dean. I really appreciate it. And as far as staying around, Benedict, and as my financial advisor will attest, I can never retire, so I hope you really mean that, because I'm going to need a job till I die.
Well, thank you
You'll
also.
say.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I just want to say, congratulations, gentlemen. Congratulations, coach, on a great victory and a great season. And I know that the challenges and the discipline that it takes to get to where you guys are will translate in the real world, whether we're talking about sports or actual life. So thank you guys. Congratulations, and continue to be leaders at your school and in our community.
All right. Anybody, Commissioner Lockett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to congratulate you on, Coach, because we as citizens of Savannah, we are very proud of the light that you're carrying for this county. Thank you very much, and continue, gentlemen, with your good works.
Commissioner Rivers.
I'd like to say congratulations to you guys and Coach, but most of all to you guys, to be a part of a state championship in any sport. I'm telling you from experience, it's the greatest experience you could have in your life, man. So remember it, and I tell you, every day from this point, you'll remember this state championship, that you're a champ. So go forth and make more championships. God bless you all.
Spoken from a man of experience. Why don't you share with us a little bit about some of the.
Come on now, we gotta move on.
We're gonna move on.
I'm sorry, we gotta move on.
Oh, I forgot, it was so long, it was longer than the COVID, update.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty. We don't have any chairman's items, we don't have any commissioner items, we go to no table items. We go to items for individual action, all right? To request approval of the following budget amendments and transfer. In the multiple grant fund, A, transfer $28,182, transfer out to CIP. B, increase revenue and expenditures, $316,508 in the first responders supplemental grant. 2, in the capital improvement fund, increase revenue $28,182 for transfer in from the multi-grant fund. B, increase expenditures $28,182 U.S. Corps of Engineers grant. In the general fund, transfer $45,000 for contingency to bridge for emergency repairs. Is there a motion?
Second.
Properly motion and second that the request be granted. Are you ready for the question? Please signify your votes. Commissioner Kicklighter,
Yes.
how do you vote? Yes. Commissioner Whiteley?
Yes.
Commissioner Whiteley votes yes. All right. 2. All right, 2, we're tabling, right? We took it off the agenda. We took it off the agenda. All right, so I don't have to read 2. Okay. 3, request Board of Commissioners to cancel or terminate the amendment to intergovernmental agreement, IGA, between CETA and the county, which is acting as responsive agents of the Department of Community Affairs, DCA, grant made to Second Harvest in the amount of $19,484,700 with a $6 million Second Harvest match. The original intent was for the county to enter into an IGA to allow CETA to act in the capacity as the construction supervisor to construct the new Second Harvest facility to be located on Chatham Parkway using the construction contract method known as Construction Manager at Risk, CMR, with a guaranteed maximum price. DCA has determined that the county may not neglect its duties of responsibility supervision, nor may the county be allowed to use a CMR construction contract. CETA is aware that the county is terminating the agreement to the IGA. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Properly motion and second that the request be granted. Are you ready for the question? Please signify by voting.
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Kimball votes yes. Commissioner Whiteley votes yes. All right, it is thereby terminated. We go to the action calendar. There was no need to pull anything off, so may I have a motion to accept the action calendar in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Yes, sir. Properly motion and second that the action calendar be approved in its entirety. Are you ready for the question? Please vote. Commissioner Kicklighter, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Whiteley, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Lockett, how are you voting?
Yes.
Okay. All right, first reader. Proposed amendment to Section 2 definition and Section 3-6, 1, location of accessory building on residential lot to create a definition for accessory building, residential to establish development standards for the use. MPC file number Z 0122-000218. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the proposed amendment to the Chatham County zoning ordinance in Section 2 definitions and Section 3-6. All right, that point 1, location of accessory building on residential lot. Text amendment, accessory dwelling. All right, 2, the petitioner J. Meldon, P.E., agent for David, and I can't say that last name, and James O. Creech, Jr. is requesting rezoning for a R-1/EO, one family residential and environment overlay, to R-3-12/EO, multifamily residence, 12 units per gross acre and environmental overlay, zoning district, MPC file number Z 1021-1-0000179, pin 10046-02021, comma 10046-02019, and 10046-02013. The Planning Commission recommends denial of the petition request, excuse me, and approval of an alternate to rezone the identified property from R-1/EO to R-3/EO multifamily resident, 6 units per acre, rezoning 7672 Johnny Mercer Boulevard, District 4. Okay, and that's only, we're reading it into the record. Going to second readers. All right, may I have a motion as to how we want to handle the second reading?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Before we move forward, I wanted to see, was there any, a representative from the tax commissioner's office to at least give us an idea, because maybe we could move forward and
No,
we're all
sir.
on the same page.
No, sir.
No, it's not.
No, sir.
No one's there? Okay. Well, in that case, I'd like to make a motion that we, table this item, to our next meeting, pending some more discussion.
Ms. Jackson's right there.
I know where Ms. Jackson at, I saw her. Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, it's been properly motion and second that we table the second reading of board approval of an amendment to the Fire Protection Service Tax Ordinance. All in favor, please cast your votes.
Yes.
Commissioner Kicklighter
Yes.
votes yes, Commissioner Whiteley vote yes. All right, it's tabled, all right? At the next meeting, when we have this come up, then the tax commissioner may speak, not today. Just want to clarify to make sure things are on the right order and done the proper way, okay? I'm not denying anybody anything, I'm just have to do it a certain way.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I just wanted to let y'all know, on December 22nd, we did send some fee options out to the board, so if you guys want to check back in your emails, you will have those.
Could you resend them?
Sure.
yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and resend them, all right?
My mailbox is full, and sometimes things disappear, like
I hear
today's
you.
agenda and last week's agenda. I look at it once, and when I go to pull it up here, it's not there, so I do need to talk to ICS folks before I leave today, see what's going
Okay,
on with
so
this.
ICS is around here, I think they're in the back, so have them check with him so he can
Thank
clear
you.
that out. And, also now, remember now, when you get those though, those are suggestive estimates, right? They're not factual, because you have to go by what the Board of Assessors says, am I correct?
Board of Assessors would set value, Board of Assessors would set value,
Mm-hmm,
and then obviously everything is driven by the millage rate.
okay,
So.
all right, so then
gives you
we'll
the- Yeah,
we'll resend what we sent out in December, okay?
But
All right.
I think what I would like to see is if we could harvest the square footage data from the assessor's office and add it all up, then we could use the budget number that's being suggested by finance and come up with a square footage price. So that would just be my personal request, that we use our computer department to harvest that data from the assessor's office that's already tabulated on each PIN number and come up with a grand total of square footage, so that the budget number could be put on top of that and divided by that to come up with a dollar or cents per square foot, whatever that number comes out, so that the commissioners could see it as an option to go forward, because this is all plowing new ground for all of us, and I think we need to be very cautious and careful going forward, that we do it as right as we possibly can the first time.
All right, let me do this, let me ask the lawyers first, all right, because y'all know, I always check with law first, all right? We have the Board of Assessors here, right? All right, can they give us the law by which they have to operate? Can we talk about the law they have to operate? Or do we have to do that in exec section?
If we're tabling this.
When they, listen, what I'm asking is because, I've been told that there's certain laws that they have to follow in order to calculate, am I correct? And what was given to me?
If they're calculating value, or they're doing ad valorem, yes, they've got to follow specific rules on that. They have a lot of different kind of data. Now, they might or might not be able to harvest it, or it might be very difficult to harvest. I have no idea. It may be just punching a button.
Okay, what I'm asking though, if.
Mr. Chairman?
Hold it. What I'm asking though is, what Commissioner Farrell is asking, all right? You use square footage, or you use whatever, if they can do that or can't do that.
Well, they could, I would assume that if they have gross square footage and we know the budget, you can generate a number, okay?
Okay.
Now, the question becomes, for a lot of reasons, whether that number that you derived, how you spread it across the population, and a lot of other issues such as uniformity and all that type of thing, it's just got positives and negatives to it. But
Right.
every one of these things has a positive, negative. There's not any one way of doing it that you're gonna say, oh, that's great, that's great, that's great, that's great. It's gonna be that's great, but.
Yeah.
You just need to be, I mean, I think
I agree.
Commissioner Farrell said it best, you know, you're going to places
You've
that
never
we
been.
haven't had to be before.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a service that it's not a question of whether you have it, you gotta have it. So it's just a matter of weighing the options. I was gonna get, our 2 assistant county attorneys to try to come up with the 2 methodologies that we hear being discussed and just do a couple of pages of positives and negatives and let you know this is what we do know and this is the unknown. And that way you've got something that you can kind of see why you may want to lean towards one or the other. And then leave it up to you. We understand that all we can do is give you the legal part of it. We don't make policy. But it might help you at your workshop to put your arms around this.
All right. So why don't we hold off on the assessors saying anything until workshop time?
We would like staff to be able to sit back
Yeah.
down with the assessors
And do workshop time.
and
So-
do workshop.
so
That
you
would
can
be a
pull-
good time.
So
for-
you can pull up
Yeah.
what everybody is trying to get to and where we're trying to go.
Yeah, and I think we should work off that memo we sent out, because we do have a square footage option listed there, but these are all fees.
Okay.
So that's where we end back up.
All right.
That's
All
what
right.
I'm asking for,
Right.
is
All right.
is the fee
Square
option.
footage, right.
Let me,
Thank you.
let me go to Commissioner Whiteley.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, I understand, you asked if the Board of Assessors can talk about what they can and can't do. I'm not sure why if they're in the room right now, if they could come up and say, hey, we can talk about this and we can't talk about that, I'm not sure why we wouldn't allow that, to happen. We have the Board of Assessors there and apparently, a representative for the Tax Commissioner's office, but we're sitting and listening to our attorney tell us something that they can tell us themselves. And I just think that it's a little bit backwards when we have the people available to tell us and tell the public at least what they can and can't do as we try to navigate through these unseen waters.
All right, here's my reasoning for doing that. I'm trying to get to where everybody can get you what you're asking for, whether it's coming from the tax commissioner, or whether it's coming from the Board of Assessor, or whether it's coming from the attorney or anybody else, all right? So what I'm saying to us is there's laws involved, and I was trying to see if, and I really think that who we will probably have to get is the attorney who sent me the information yesterday from the Board of Assessors, the Board of Assessors attorney, okay? So what I was trying to get to is get everybody in the room so we can get to that point, so the tax commissioner can tell us what she can and cannot do, so the Board of Assessors can tell us what they can and cannot do, so that Commissioner Farrell can say, here's what I'm looking for, this is what I'm looking for. That's what I was asking for, and I was just asking for our attorney to give me an opinion as to how to put that together, okay? That's what I was asking for. I understand they're here, all right? But I want you to get the whole picture rather than piecemealing, all right? Because the piecemealing, I think, is what got us where we are now.
Mr. Chairman, if I may say one thing, if you go back and read the memo that got sent from the Board of Assessors, and I think we did a little cover memo on it, the thing that the Board of Assessors is up against is they need to have their digest in by a certain time.
Right.
So that it can be approved, okay? If we miss those dates, and then we gotta go in and try to collect under whatever method you want, we're gonna have to go into Superior Court and get an order saying we can collect that way, okay? Either way, if you don't get your digest approved in due process manner, then what will happen is you cannot tax based on the growth in the digest, which means you'll be taxing next year for this year's growth And that's what becomes the issue. It's another issue that you, like I said, everything's got positives and negatives to it. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is we just going to have to go.
I'd like to hear that from the Board of Assessors, though.
Well, you're not gonna hear it.
If you
Right,
read,
so then what we're hearing is merely an opinion, Mr. Chairman.
no, it's not an opinion. It's the opinion.
Yeah,
of
it
the-
is.
It's the
Listen,
opinion of the Board
don't
of
go there,
Assessors
please.
attorney, written in a memo and approved by the chief appraiser.
Thanks,
All right,
Mr. Hart. Thank
let's
you.
move on. Let's move on. Anything we need from information? If we don't have anything for information, we don't have a need for an executive session, okay?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow the Board of Assessors and the tax commissioner, at least give us some verbiage on this, information.
And I'm
so we can at least-
gonna rule that out, and I'm gonna rule that out of order, and it's not gonna happen. All right?
I'd like to appeal to
It's,
the
I'm
body,
gonna
Mr.
rule it
Chairman.
out of order, and it's not gonna happen. Is there
I'd like to
anything
appeal to
on
the body,
the,
Mr.
is
Chairman.
there anything on the agenda, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to appeal
All
to the
right.
body.
Is there anything else on the agenda?
Point of order,
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
We declare that
Point of order, Mr.
this meeting
Chairman.
is adjourned.
Wait a minute, it's not over. It's not over.
Well, you stay right there.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like
This
to.
meeting is not over.
body On your, ruling of it being out of order.
This meeting should not be over.
All right,
Wow.
Mr. Attorney, make a determination. Is this meeting over or is it not over? And
You didn't vote on an adjournment.
so it's not over.
So the meeting is not over, it has not been voted on.
All right. So the meeting is in order.
And so I'd like to appeal to the body on the ruling of me being out of order.
All right. The chairman's
You're
leaving
not,
the room.
Robert's Rules of Order
The chairman's leaving.
states that a commissioner can add to the agenda anything that they want to add if they have the floor. The good commissioner asked for the floor, he was given the floor, and at that point, the commissioner has every legal right to make a motion of whatever he or she desires. That was done, so if the chairman walked out, I think the vice chairman is now in control of this meeting.
He is.
And I think the vice chair needs to let this move forward and call for a vote as to whether this body wants to hear the two as stated by Commissioner Whiteley. And Mr. Attorney, is that correct?
Turn your mic on.
Mr. Attorney, may I have some advice on that, or opinion on that?
Well, you need a vote to adjourn,
No.
and then you've got 5 people here, you've got a quorum.
There's no motion to adjourn. We're in the meeting. There's a motion on the floor. Why are we not addressing that motion? We just happen to have one commissioner left the room.
I've ruled that you can't adjourn if you don't want to adjourn. We've always done that by consent, okay? The meeting's over, you tap the gavel and say, then I declare the meeting adjourned. There's never been an objection like that before. There is today. One vote can't carry the whole floor. Now, at the same time, you gotta have a quorum to do business. And right now, you got 1, 2, you got 5, 6, I guess. I didn't see, this Commissioner Stone. So you got a quorum.
Well, Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to allow the tax commissioner and the representative from the tax assessor's office to address us in this matter.
Second.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Stone.
Mr. Vice Chair, if we're gonna have a workshop, that's when I'd really like to hear all this information. I don't know whether we've got enough here today, but if possible, I would like to defer this to when we have an actual workshop just for this issue.
Point of order, per my second,
One
I'm
second,
asking.
one second, Mr. Kickleiter. Yes, sir, Mr. Lockett.
I'd just like to say, I agree with Commissioner Stone. I think we need the results of this meeting that we're going to have.
You got a motion on the floor that we need to vote on.
Okay.
If he,
Yeah, but a motion to continue, would that have any play in this, Mr.
That's my agreement.
Attorney?
Well, you've got a motion on the floor, but you're in the discussion phase of the motion. So, everybody wants to speak, as long as they're recognized by the vice chair, can speak.
And that's what I was doing.
Anyone else?
Yes, both of you made proper statements.
Again, just to repeat.
Commissioner,
Any other
Chair,
discussion?
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask Commissioner Whiteley if he would amend his, motion to allow each one of the two to speak for 2 minutes each.
Yes, sir, I agree with that, and so I would like to amend my, motion to allow, those representatives to speak for at least, a maximum of 2 minutes, and this is just in the spirit of transparency, as I do understand we will have a workshop to go into greater detail, but we have gone back and forth about this. We have citizens who are on pins and needles about tax, fee, or what's going on, and considering that we have the people who are playing a major role in this in the room, I think it is in good order and fair order to at least allow them to address the commission publicly.
Okay.
I amend my second.
But
Thank you.
can we really keep it to 2 minutes?
Any other discussion?
Yes, we can.
Any other discussion before the vote? I call for the vote.
Is your speaker on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passing. 2 minutes for each.
2 minutes.
Who do you want to hear from first, the assessor or the tax commissioner?
Whoever you see fit, Mr. Vice Chairman.
I think the assessor's coming to the podium.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So we can definitely answer any questions that you may have. We're basically kind of looking for direction from whoever to make a decision so then we can move forward. But to outline our two main concerns is two things. Timing. There's potentially, based on what we understand today, potential system modifications that needs to happen in a timely manner in order for us to submit a timely digest and get the notices out in a timely manner. And then the second part of that is appeals. Those are going to be the two things that will keep us from submitting a timely digest to the state. If we have a potential increase of appeals, whether it's a fee or a tax, that is a potential.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I have a question.
Hold on 1 second. I have Commissioner Milton who wants to make a question.
Right now, we don't have direction as to whether we're doing this square footage or whether we're doing this. I mean, we'll get to all that, I'm sure, in the workshop, but I do want you to know what our concerns are. And whether this, I mean, I understand you in a timely manner, but, you know, there's too much unknown that we just, we don't know whether we're gonna do it.
Absolutely, and I think what the county attorney was trying to explain is the process of a temporary collection order. If the digest is not timely, we will have to get approval through the state in order to collect on a temporary collection order.
Commissioner Whiteley?
My next question was, as it relates to square footage, if we're gonna use square footage as a determinant factor, how readily accessible is that information for you to access and then pull out those potentially exempt properties?
Well, our primary function is to keep all that information, square footage, things of that such. But there's still some other things that we will need direction on. For example, when you talk about improvements, you could be talking about a dock. Are you guys concerned with the square footage of the dock? Because that can also be affected by fire. Or you want to consider basements into your square footage? Those are some things that we probably need to get direction on in order to go from that standpoint of square footage.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Conley.
You're welcome.
His 2 minutes is up.
So you do have the capability of adding up the square footages that are on the PIN numbers to get a total?
Yes, we should be able to do that. We just need the direction.
Yes.
To go on.
Thank you. Just needed that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Tax Commissioner?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. My main concern is echoed by the Board of Assessors, and that is the timeliness of the decision. As of today, I have not been informed of the decision that you guys have regarding me actually collecting the fire tax. And that decision will be based on the timeliness of us being able to submit our tax digest timely. That is the major concern, being able to get everything that we need to do prepared in order to submit the tax digest timely. We typically start that process in April, and we're in mid-March, and I have not received a decision from you on proceeding with collection of the fire tax. That is my major concern.
Thank you. Any, Mr.
Mr.
Commissioner?
Vice Chairman, I have a question.
Commissioner Farrell?
Oh, thank you. Commissioner Jackson, if the board went in the direction of instructing staff to come up with a formula for a fee, would you be able to bill that out through your department on our behalf as a fire fee?
I stated previously that I do not support the decision for a fire fee added to the tax bill. I do stand with that. Adding the fire fee to the tax bill is not I support. I support adding a fire tax to the bill. And the timeliness of it is the issue. A fire fee, if you decided to go in another method, there's other options that we have on collecting a fire fee that would not be a part of the actual tax bill. The tax bill would have to be separate if you wanted to go in the direction of a fire fee so that it would not impact our delivery of that tax digest.
So to be clear, you could help us with the billing of a tax fee. It would just be under separate cover and not on the tax bill. It would be, we would label it a firefighter fee, hand you the formula for billing, and your office could do that, and it wouldn't affect the tax digest and the tax other, because it would be a firefighting fee. Is that?
If that's something that the commission wanted to do, I would be happy to support that if it did not impact the actual tax bill.
Okay, so that's an option that the board can consider.
It's an option you can explore.
To have the tax commissioner's department bill out a firefighting fee on our behalf, and it would not be typed on the same piece of paper as the Chatham County tax, the school tax, the cat tax. It would be under a separate cover, which I think would be advantageous, because we're merely trying to collect a subscription fee for a fire department, and we're just taking on that on our shoulders to collect that. And I think with the approval of the county commission and the cooperation of the tax commissioner's office, that we can substitute the subscription fee for a firefighter fee and use the apparatus of the Chatham County Commission and the Chatham Tax Commissioner's Office to go about collecting that. And that would solve the subscription problem somewhat from what we have now.
My major concern is the submission of the tax digest timely so that we can bill for property tax in November. That is my major concern. And if we explored some other options that would not impact the tax digest and the timeliness of that submission, I would be willing to explore those options.
That is excellent.
Point of order, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, sir.
In an effort to stick to Commissioner Whiteley's motion and my second and what we voted on, I want to thank the tax commissioner for answering the questions, but I believe we should suspend any further talks until we get into a meeting.
I do too.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. May I ask the question?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.